What's up, family? This is Sensei. Today we're going to do an install of the Ciro lower fork lights, okay? Some of you might not even know that this exists. We'll talk about the number. It's the Ciro lower leg covers, part number 43003. You have one pair, it's color black. It fits 14 and up Harley Davidson touring models, except for Tri-Glides and Road Kings. It does not fit those, okay? So let's go. We're going to open this together and we're going to see what it's going to take to do the install on this product. So let's talk about what comes inside of here. Anything that has to do with fork installs is always going to feel a little bit intimidating. However, once you follow the proper protocols and proper instructions, which comes in this kit right here, you get the 2 extensions, the cables, you get 5 zip ties, which is fantastic. Ciro, good job. We get some dielectric grease. We get 4 bolts. And we get 2 high quality lights. When I say high quality, meaning that this is not plastic. All right, not plastic. Now guys, the importance of lights, man, you could never have enough lights on your bike. I promise you, you could never have enough. And this install looks pretty simple. It looks like we're gonna be replacing some bolts. For these, we're gonna go over by that lift and we are going to start to get this thing on, installed, and lit up. As I finish fighting with getting this thing out the box, out the bag. Man, I'm stuck. Help me, man. All right, so the quality in this looks absolutely stunning. It's gonna put a lot of life to beast. It's gonna look really good. So let's get after it. The instructions is not hard, so let's do it. All right, so the install here is pretty simple. Because I'm doing the build on the bike, I didn't have to remove the fender because the fender is already off. But what they want you to do is remove the stock fender bolts. That's these that goes in here, okay? They want you to take those off. And they want you to replace that with the bolts that came here. Now remember, I don't have my fender, okay? So just imagine that we did that. And you're gonna take off any reflectors that you might have. I'm gonna put a little spray in here just to clean up any grime or residue buildup that I might have here, just because we're gonna cover this anyway, okay? This is gonna get covered. Now, there is a left and a right. There is a left and a right. If you try to put the left on the right side, you're gonna notice it's not gonna fit, okay? So this one is for if I'm facing the bike, it's a right. If I'm sitting on the bike, it's my left. And you're gonna simply put this on. This is gonna go over the bolt. There's a few ways that you can take this wire. Let me get this out the way a bit. There's a few ways that you can take the wire and route it the way you wanna route it. You can take it, I like to put it this way, so when I put it on, it's hidden. We're gonna trail that up to the brake line, okay? Pretty simple. You're gonna take that bolt, you're gonna push that bolt in. Now remember, I don't have my fender, so I'm just gonna do a semi-install, and I am gonna put the washer in the back. Normally what I'd recommend for you to do is to use some Loctite on here. Definitely some Loctite, but I'm gonna lock this in. Just enough so that way I could have some stability on these lowers. And this looks good already. The video won't even do it justice, I'm telling you. When you see this thing in person, it's a completely different look. All right, so now we're gonna zip tie, right? So we're gonna unravel this little lock that they have here. And we're gonna use some snippers to snip the zip ties after we trail this up. Now, the beautiful thing about my bike right now, like I said, my bike is apart, but I have a lot of videos that's showing you how to remove the cables and all those things you need to remove from the bike so you can attach the lights and all the stuff you need to attach. So you have a lot of length here. This actually runs up pretty far. I'm gonna run it, we're gonna zip tie it, we're gonna follow the line of the brake. So let's do that right now. We're gonna zip tie that, following that same exact pattern. Okay, this is the fun part. Zip tying is fun for me. I don't know, I'm like a big kid. I'm a big kid. All right, and we're gonna zip tie it here. Because you wanna get it as stealth as possible. You don't want your stuff looking sloppy, right? You want it to look as neat as you can possibly get it. And please feel free to use as many zip ties as you want. It's your bike. I'm gonna take some of this grease. I'm gonna put on the male side. If I can get this thing open. On this connector here, on the extension. So male side, you don't need to take a whole lot. It's a what do you call it? Dielectric grease, whatever the heck you pronounce it. Yeah, dielectric. I'm gonna take a little bit and just run it over here. And we're gonna connect this. Listen for the snap. There goes a snap. Now what I'm gonna do with mine is I'm gonna run mine. You can run it up all the way up the way you wanna run it. So I'm gonna take my time and I'm gonna trail mine up and I'm gonna connect it to one of these wires up here. And then once I connect it, I'll be able to get this thing turned on so we can see what it looks like, all right? So I'll be right back and I'll show you how I'm doing it. Okay, so I'm gonna bring the bike down. That way I can get on top and I could run the wire easier. There we go. All right, let's go. All right, so here goes something to remember. The idea of running any cable line is to hide your cable line, right? So just remember that when the fairing is on, you're not gonna see this, and I'm gonna have some lights right here. So just imagine that my fairing is on, and I'm gonna trail this up. I'm gonna run this up here, and I'm gonna pull it all the way through my speaker side, cut it through the speaker opening, and I'm gonna run it into the back. I know you can't see it, but just take your time to imagine what I'm saying, okay? Let me take this lid off so I could show you. That way you could see exactly what I'm saying. Now remember, you can run it the way you wanna run it. It's all about preference. That's really what it boils down to, is what you prefer. All right, so here's what I'm saying about the wire, is I'm just rerouting the wire and I'm tucking it away behind this and I'm coming up to the top right here. And I could zip tie all of that so it's not getting in the way of the speaker or anything like that. Now, that's just another way for me to route it. If you choose to route it on the outside, it's up to you, but that's how I'm gonna do mine. So the wire is right here, the splitter, okay? Now remember, every time you get a splitter, you are gonna be consistently splitting and resplitting more and more cables. Like for example, my lower beams is right here. They come with a splitter as well. So just for reference point, let me see what I have, where I have my connectors at, because I don't have all my lights on here right now. So I'm going to connect this into this. It normally just works one way, and then you take your splitter and reroute your splitter. So let's see if that works when I turn the bike on. This looks so clean. I mean, it matches my bike. They have the chrome version as well, but you know I'm blacked out. So let's turn this on and see what it does. There we go. You're not gonna see the same impact as you would in person, but let me tell you, this looks clean. I'm gonna drop the lighting on the camera just so you can kind of get an idea on what it looks like in a much more darker situation. And of course, and then I'll turn it back up. Ooh, indicator works good. It's a nice bright light. I'm looking at it. It just looks really good on the bike. It adds some really amazing flavor to the bike. Everything looks cohesive. I'm loving it. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side, nothing complex. So nothing complicated. I already had installed the light already here. Already put the bolts in. Remember, it's just simple. It's just a simple replacement. You don't gotta do nothing crazy. And I connected the cable. I didn't even put the zip ties yet. We're gonna zip tie it up to this and we're gonna trail it up to the top. All right, let's do it. So like I said, I already have it wired up, and I'm just gonna run it up the way I showed you earlier, the same route. I'm gonna bring this up, give myself enough slack. That way I know that this is gonna go in here nice and easy. Run it through here, bring it up to the end. Hide my wires behind the speaker. Just tuck it in. Okay, once again, you can zip tie it, and I'm gonna find where I wanna connect this to. Remember, the splitter will allow me to connect the light that was there before, right? And then light that was there before. All the splitter's doing is not doing anything extra. It's not complicated. It's something that you can do. It might look complicated, like this is a little more complicated because this, I had to hardwire this light system into that area. That's a little bit more complex because that requires some cutting of wires and all that. But here, we didn't have to do any of that, all right? So we're gonna turn the bike on as well, make sure that this works, and then we're gonna zip tie it up, button it up, and make sure we have the wire comfortably tucked away. And that's it. Let's go. All right, so following the trail, okay, following the trail. I'm just gonna follow the curve. Now, do I feel happy about where that's at? No, I'm not really happy about where that's at, right? Because I feel like I could hide this a little better than how it is. And that's the thing about the beauty behind getting this amazing kit set up, is that you can kind of, see? I feel better with it like that. So it's not just a big piece of wire that's just hanging out. It's just more hidden, more secluded. All right, so then I can tighten this back down as if there's a fender here. And then we're gonna zip tie. Now I'm gonna have to use a few more zip ties because I like to zip tie my stuff up a certain way. But here we go. This process is a simple one. The hardest part, like if you have never, and I keep on doing this, I turn the wrong way. If you have never taken off the front fairing of your bike, whether you got a street glide or a road glide, I recommend for you to practice that, all right? Because a lot of these installs, it's gonna call for some of that stuff to take place, all right? It's gonna definitely call for that. So I'm just following that zip tie, make sure my thing is on the inside. Boom, bada bing, bada boom, bada bam. Now, when you have these deep curves, you want to use more than one zip tie. You want to have it close to each other so you can follow the curve with another zip tie. You see what I'm saying? So that way you know you're set. And the zip tie, sometimes I make the mistake and put the zip tie on the wrong way. You don't hear the zip. But you want to make sure the zip is facing inwards to you. And that way, you ain't got to worry about it. Now, the beautiful thing about zip ties too is you still have the ability to still pull. No matter how tight you make it, you can still pull your cable. So we're gonna neaten all that up. We're gonna get a little snipper wire, and we're gonna snip all of this excess stuff that's just dangling. We don't need that at all. So once you get it where you need to get it, I like to get the inside as close as possible. Snip that off. Snip that off, and snip that off. It's much better. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Now remember, like I said, this wire, this is gonna be hidden, right? So if you wanna hide this even more, you can just get a little bit more creative with the way you run it up to the top and hide it the way you choose to hide it. Now, because I want this to be, because I like my stuff to be hidden in between the lines, I'm gonna put another zip tie right here. That way when the fairing goes in, it can tuck behind this if I want to, or whatever. But I'm gonna put my last zip tie right here in this area, and I'm gonna tuck that away and let that follow that curve. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Boom. Now, Ciro, they make some amazing products. I'm not gonna lie, Ciro makes amazing products. Like my highway peg, for example, right? The frame mounted highway pegs, I absolutely love them. I will recommend that all the time. And I'm gonna leave a link in this video. So if you wanna order your stuff from Ciro, just click that link. I will get a little kickback from it, just to tell you guys that ahead of time. But as you already know, I'm not gonna promote any product, any brand, if I'm not a big believer. You can send me free stuff all day. If I don't like your product, I ain't putting your stuff on the channel. Okay, so you can see how neatly I ran these lines. Now, you can take the zip ties and you can turn these out just like that. Look at how rough that looks, and look at how much more neater this looks when you turn it like that. See the difference? It's a much better look. And if I want to take this wire, take my time and kind of tuck it behind it, it looks even cleaner. You see? So when you have like really curvy lines, you take your time and you figure out how you want to run it, and you're going to need multiple zip ties. You're going to need zip ties. Now, if I want to hide these cables here too, look, you don't have to see it. I can tuck this under like this. Just watch. Watch as I'm doing this. You're gonna see it kind of just looking better as it tucks away. And I'm gonna hold it right where it's at so I can turn the zip tie a little bit, and you can see it just looking better by itself. Look at how good that looks. See it? So zip tying, there's an art to it. You don't wanna just zip tie things, just to zip tie stuff up. No good. And this, remember, this is gonna be a small little line that's gonna run up. Now, if you don't wanna see that, once again, you can find something back here. Maybe there's something that you could zip tie that to as well. And that way you won't see the cable line, but just make sure that you have some slack. So if you're turning your steering wheel, you don't have this thing snapping. And that's the most important thing you wanna do, all right? So let's make sure that this works. So we're now on the other side. I put my 50 amp fuse back in. Remember, always remove the 50 amp fuse out of here. Sometimes I forget, but no, you don't want to do that. So let's see if this turns on. It turns on. I have the light also connected on this little thing here as well. It's kind of bright in here, so you won't really see it, but I'll turn this so you can see that this is also on as well. And we're going to hit the indicator. And you can see both of them is blinking from that front. See it? So yeah, I love it. It is so easy. That's bothering me. Completely forgot to snip this side as I'm talking to you guys. You know, get yourself a snipper. These little tools right here, you can get them for a couple of bucks. You don't need to spend a whole lot of money. The beautiful thing about Ciro, well, there's a lot of things that I do absolutely love about Ciro. And like I said, I'm not saying any of this because I'm sponsoring, they're sponsoring the video. I'm telling you this because I'm an actual client for Ciro, and I love their whole entire brand, their whole entire structure. This is a very simple install like you saw. Just simply remove the bolts, add that in, pop that in. Remember, there is a left and a right. You wanna have access to your ABS screws for the calipers and all that stuff. You wanna have access to that, so you cannot go wrong. One is a left, one is a right. Ciro offers a lifetime warranty on every last one of their LED light system. And if you don't know it, they are located in Hudson, Wisconsin. And also they're motorcycle qualified. So they're certified, where there's a whole bunch of processes and stuff that they go through to make sure that their products is up to par and safe enough to operate for motorcycle riders. So that's it. That's the product. I gave you guys the number, the link. Once again, I turn the bike on, these comes right on. The wiring, when I run my final run, all of this is gonna be pretty much hidden underneath this, so it's gonna look pretty normal. You're not gonna see any excess amount of wires, any unnecessary amount of wires, all right? Easy install. I'll give it from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most complex. I'll give this a 3 or a 4. And the reason why I say that, depending on the bike you have, like I have the Road Glide, I'm just a big fan of taking off the whole front so I can properly run my wires properly. If you have a fishing hook, you know, the fish line that we use for electrical wiring, or a chain or something you can run that can fishtail down, you can do that and just pull the wire up if you don't want to take this off, all right? But that's pretty much it. This is the Ciro Lighten lower leg covers. Fantastic build. It just gives a lot of flavor to beasts, and I'm excited. All right, don't forget, leave your comments. I'm keep on bringing you guys this content. We out here, we're doing this. This is about us developing a happy lifestyle, doing what makes us feel great, and not worrying about all the noise that's out in the world. All right, Ciro, thanks again for sponsoring the video. Guys, once again, there's a link that I'm putting in the comments and also in the description. Click the link and order your stuff today. Let's go, let's get it. Let's get these miles, let's get this money, let's get this muscle. And you're gonna see the new logo with the crown, because we are kings, and Ride Fit Nation is all about the kings and the queens. I'm out, peace.